Derek Prince was a prayer warrior. Certainly he possessed other gifts and attributes. Best of all, Derek was a prolific Bible teacher, with more than 600 recorded messages, almost 60 books in print, and more than 100 video recordings of his teachings. He was a Bible teacher of tremendous depth. Derek was also the loving husband over a 53-year span to 2 wives, both of whom preceded him to glory. His first marriage took place for him through remarkable direction from the Lord. He married his first wife, Lydia, in 1945, and immediately became the father to her 8 adopted daughters. Their 9th adopted daughter, Jessica, was added to the family while Derek and Lydia were in ministry in Kenya. The irony of this immediate family was that Derek had been raised as an only child in a somewhat privileged British culture, and he was a 30-year-old bachelor at the time. His marriage to Ruth took place in 1978, 3 years after Lydia passed away, and came about through equally remarkable guidance from the Lord. Derek was also a philosopher and a brilliant scholar, with academic accolades that could fill a page. Another unique experience for him was his service in a medical unit in the deserts of North Africa in World War II, right after the times in which the Lord apprehended him. Derek spoke many languages fluently. He read his New Testament in the original Greek, and he was a Hebrew scholar as well. His knowledge and brilliance spanned a wide spectrum. In many ways, he was a true Renaissance man, although he probably would not have considered that a compliment. A long list could be compiled of the unique events and achievements of Derek's life and ministry, as well as an equally long list of descriptors for him, such as teacher, author, husband, father, spiritual leader, and pioneer in many godly activities. Again, Derek would not be pleased for that list to be attributed to him, because he did not consider his life to be about him. It was about him with a capital H. Derek would not have been comfortable with such a listing. Nevertheless, of all the descriptors, one would have to be near the top of any list. Derek was a prayer warrior. A pastor told of a lunch he and his wife enjoyed with Derek and Lydia back in the early 1970s. In a very natural way throughout their lunch and conversation, Lydia would occasionally touch Derek's arm and say, "I think we need to pray for Jim and Janice." And they would stop and pray for a few moments. And then a little while later, "I think we need to pray for Frank and Betty." Each time, Derek would stop, join hands with Lydia, pray a simple, direct prayer, and then return to the conversation and fellowship. According to that pastor, it was one of the most unusual lunch appointments he and his wife had ever experienced, but not in an unpleasant way. Prayer was natural and frequent for Derek and Lydia, and later for Derek and Ruth. Derek Prince was a prayer warrior. Defining terms. The statement begs the question, what exactly is a prayer warrior? The best way to answer that question in a definitive way is to read this book. The complicating factor as we begin the process of answering this question comes from the current state of prayer in the Church. Prayer warrior is a familiar phrase within Christian circles, thrown about in a cavalier way. It is used to describe someone gutsy enough to storm the gates of heaven with petitions and spiritual declarations. As you will see when you read this book, Derek did not hold a cavalier view of what it is to be a prayer warrior. A good example of such a cavalier approach might be the statement of a song leader at a meeting some years ago, who said, in a moment of exuberance, "I feel so excited tonight. I feel as though I could charge hell with a bucket of water." Derek, who in addition to other traits had a wonderful sense of humor, would have laughed with the rest of us at that exclamation, but when it came to the topic of prayer, he was anything but cavalier. An astounding statement.